How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Rajasthan Royals have lost both their games so far. Chennai Super Kings are 1-1, lost one, but that loss was a damaging one at home to RCB. Which of these teams can bounce back? Let's build up to this game, which takes place in Guwahati on Maruti Suzuki Arena, presents ESPN Cricinfo Timeout in the company of Wasim, Jaffer and Cheteshwar Pujara. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time. Let's start with Chennai Super Kings. We've had two looks at them, and the middle order in both the games, playing at Chepauk, has been a bit at sea. Lots of questions, so let's start packing them. Let's begin, Puji. Should Ruturaj Gaikwad be opening?
I do agree that he's a better positioned if he's opening the innings, but their game plan is that Rahul Tripathi, he has to open and he just has to play aggressively, which hasn't been happening in first couple of games, and they are losing one early wicket. Then there's a little bit of pressure on Ruturaj to come in and then play his natural game. He did well in the first game, but second game there was a bit more pressure because there was enough runs on the board. RCB got 190. So I feel if Ruturaj opens, there will be a better position for him. But then Rahul will miss out, or either he bats at number 3. So that may not be the ideal combination. At this stage, I still feel give another game to Rahul Tripathi. Let him just try and play his game, try and get enough runs in the power play. And then Ruturaj, since he has been batting at number 3, you don't want to change batting position after just first couple of games. If you have stuck with a game plan, just try and stick with it for a little longer.
Tripathi has delivered at number 3 for some of his past franchises. Would you consider that swap?
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. Ruturaj batting at 3, which is not his normal position, and then Tripathi opening the batting, which he normally doesn't do. So I'll probably get Ruturaj Gaikwad to open. You'll be tempted to get Conway in as well, but Rachin Ravindra opening and doing so well, so you don't want to change that too. If they play with that same combination, I'll be tempted to get Sam Curran at number 3 and Tripathi at number 4 because he plays spin so really well. And then get Dubey up a little bit, get his entry point a little early. As soon as the spinners are on, you want Dubey in, irrespective of how many wickets have fallen. So I'll try and, get this combination right.
Yeah, within that, Wasim has packed pretty much a lot of the problems and a lot of the questions surrounding CSK at this early stage of this season. Let's start with Conway. Do you feel there's room for him? Because Nick Knight also, you were on that post show after CSK's defeat. And Nick Knight suggested that he wouldn't mind seeing Conway opening and Rachin batting at 3.
But who do you drop then? You can't have Rachin and you can't have Rachin and Devin both in the playing 11. Then you have to lose Sam Curran from the playing 11, and that will be a tough call on him because he's an all-rounder for them. I mean, he didn't have first 2 games. It didn't go his way, but I still feel Sam Curran is a great asset for CSK, and then they should back him, and which I believe that they will for another 2 or 3 games, and then they will assess whether if he's not performing well, then they might see for another replacement. But at this stage, I still feel that they won't tinker around with their batting lineup. They will stick with the same side. The only change I see is that Shivam Dubey might come up the order and Deepak Hooda could go little down the order, maybe at number 5 or number 6, because Deepak Hooda at number 4 in the last game against RCB was a big surprise. I thought he's a kind of a player who shouldn't be facing the new ball. He hasn't. I mean, it's a bit unfortunate that they've been losing wickets in the power play, but I still feel he should be batting at somewhere around 8th or 10th over, which is his strength. Come in once the ball is old and then try and play his shots.
I do have one final question around batting positions. Should number 7 be batting 7 down?
No matter how much we speak on this show, he's going to come in. He was forced to actually come in the 16th over. Because only Noor Ahmed and Khalil were left, if there was another batter, he probably would have gone in that 16th over. So he's not going to come anywhere between 18. He's not going to come before 18th or 19th over.
I think the reason I don't think it's more of thinking about his batting, it's more about his fitness. If I feel that there is some niggle or there's some concern, otherwise someone like Mahibai would want to come in because it was an ideal situation for him to come in at somewhere around 14th or 15th over and then try and play as many shots as possible. That was the only way CSK would have won that game. So he's not coming even in that situation, that means that there could be possibly something wrong with his fitness, and he's just trying to save himself for the next game. And he knows that if he's not, I mean, he doesn't need to run too many runs. If he can't sprint, then that's the ideal time for him to come in at somewhere around 16th, 17th over and just play shots.
Yeah, I suspect it's not the last we're discussing MS Dhoni's batting position over the course of this season. Let's turn our attention towards the conditions, because if Chennai's batters were thinking that there might be some respite, Chepauk has been on the lower scoring side so far. Well, Guwahati was a bit of a scrapper in itself in the first game we saw there when Rajasthan took the field. That doesn't make it any easier, but it does bring CSK's spinners into the game.
Yeah, it does. I mean, that's their strength. Even though Khalil has bowled really well as well, and Patirana, we all know what he can do. But if there is a little bit of spin, Chennai bowlers will enjoy that, and that is something they'll enjoy as well. But saying that, their batters haven't enjoyed batting on spin-friendly condition, which Stephen Fleming recently said, and so did RR as well. So it's going to be tricky. What kind of pitch RR going to give against Chennai?
Yeah, the way CSK's batters have fared against spin and on slower surfaces so far would be some respite for Rajasthan Royals spinners who haven't really come to the party so far.
Yes, I do agree, but at the same time, Rajasthan's batters, they haven't been batting well either. So I'm a little surprised Yashashvi hasn't been looking at his best. I feel someone like him, he needs to calm down a bit. Is trying to play too many shots early on. I know that he wants to utilize the power play, but he's a quality player. Even if he takes 4 to 5 balls early on and then he starts playing his shots, then he will be in a better position, because it looks like he's little late on the ball. His reflexes, I wouldn't say it has gone down, but he's little late on the ball. And when you are trying to hit the ball too hard, and when you only have one option, that I'm just going to play in the 5th gear no matter where the bowler bowls, then it's easier for the bowlers to predict and bowl. So I think he just needs to look at the ball and try and play on the merit of the ball, because even within the power play, even in T20 format, you just try and hit the ball where the ball is swinging or which side the ball is going. So rather than, he's not able to maintain his shape and just trying to play too many shots early on.
Wasim, when you consider more broadly the RR batting lineup and the way this squad is constructed, feels like this venue, especially if the surface is going to behave that way, is not really an ideal match.
It is, yeah. Actually, we played, when I was with Punjab, we played at Guwahati. We scored 200 plus and ended up winning by 4 or 5 runs. Yeah. So it was a batting friendly condition then. So I'm really surprised and surprised that, Riyan Parag plays there and, to have conditions like that. So saying that, if conditions does get better, which RR probably will enjoy, their batters should enjoy, but, which Puji has mentioned, Yashashvi need to come good, Sanju Samson, he needs to come good. The batting order, the 3 and 4, Nitish Rana again used to play at number 3, he's batting at 4, Parag batted at 4 and did so well. Yeah. So, they could swap numbers. And Dhruv Jorel, they need to trust Dhruv Jorel at 5, and Hetmeyer, again, you don't need to hold back your international players too late. Why Hasaranga went in. You want your main batters to bat as many balls as possible. So they need to go with an intent of winning the game and rather, not being defensive. That's been RR's problem for, a few times.
And I completely agree on Wasim Bhai's point that Dhruv Jurel is someone who has been batting well for them. And if you are trying to save your best players for the last 5 or 6 overs, then you are too far behind in the game. So try and make them bat as early as possible. Someone like Dhruv Jurel, I wouldn't mind even if he's batting at number 3 or 4, because he has that talent and he has that ability to change the game. So he should be promoted up the order, and someone like Hetmeyer he can do the job of what Nicholas Pooran does. I mean, he has similar talent. And if you are just saving him for the death overs, then it doesn't help the team.
Yeah, the conversations around the batting positions of Shimron Hetmeyer and Nicholas Pooran have been long-standing conversations in the last few IPL seasons. We've seen Lucknow change that, and Pooran's got a fixed role up top. Whether the Hetmeyer Rajasthan Royals conversation changes remains to be seen. But I do want to touch up on the other overseas players in that RR setup, the bowlers. They've invested on those 2 Sri Lankan spinners. Both have such good reputations, but they haven't really found their groove yet. It is so important already if you consider Rajasthan's chances of succeeding this season for those spinners to really step up?
Yeah, they need to. If the conditions are like what they played last time, and in the last game, Theekshana hasn't bowled at his best. He looked way rusty than what is expected of him. Hasaranga hasn't completed his quota. I was surprised. Riyan Parag bowled 4 overs and bowled 4 economical overs. So those two guys need to come good because they're going to play majority of the games. And as the tournament carries on, the wickets are going to take spin. So those two guys have a major role to play.
And the need for them to deliver is amped up by the kind of start Jofra Archer has had to this
I was coming to that point because Jofra hasn't been bowling well, and then if in first 3 or 4 overs, if the opposition gets off to a very good start, then there's more pressure on the spinners. So that's where I feel Jofra has to bowl well, along with Sandeep and Tushar. Both of them have been bowling reasonably well, but Jofra, he's coming out of an injury. His action has changed a bit, and he's trying to back his back of length bowl, which is not the ideal bowl on a flat pitch. I think he will have to come up with something else because his pace has dropped down a bit after the injury. But he's a talented bowler. I mean, he's an athlete. He's quite strong. So I hope that he will come up with something else because he ended up bowling too many slow balls also in the last game, very bold. So I felt that he needs to come up with another strategy where he's mixing it up with some Yorkers, trying to bowl some bumpers in between, but don't rely too much on back of length and slow balls.
All right. Thank you, Wasim, Cheteshwar, for setting up this game for us. Both sides need to win. Rajasthan, you'd think more so. You lose the first 3, you'll find very few instances of teams actually going the distance in an IPL season with a start like that.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.